And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SEO News, the weekly news where we go through last week's SEO and AI news now. It's really important. Half of this is AI at this point. So this is for week 13. That was last week. I've got Linus, my co host. We work at Precis. My name is Frederick Drost. And let's just jump right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Great. Okay. So the first one is, of course, AI related. This is pretty big for us specifically. So AI overview is coming to EU and not so many Nordic or any Nordic markets, but a lot of European countries are getting it. We do have a lot more of our clients that do operate in these countries. So we are now tasked with having to track everything, et cetera, et cetera. But right now the news is just that it's coming in and it's a big deal. It'll affect a lot of informational queries, click-through rates, things will be going on. I'm not so sure about paid ads, but I've heard some effects. Um, how are you prepping for this?
Um, Not necessarily too much, I would say. I feel like the base we have within Precis allows us to do quite business as usual, and I would just take this more as like ad hoc if I see uh, any of my clients being very much
Affected, yeah.
they're exactly. Then I'd be more inclined to look more into this. But I think in
It,
general it's just business as usual.
we have to look at it from a query level. It's not all queries that'll be
Yeah,
affected, and we'll get into a few extra things in this news section here. It's going to be really cool. I've got two extra things related to this, but again, I think good to mention that at Precis AI overviews, good SEO will make you appear in there. And we do good white hat SEO, I think, and very holistic. And that's really that's the keyword here, holistic. If you're just very content producing or very link focused, you will miss out. But if you have a very good, healthy, holistic long term view with SEO, you're gonna appear in these. And a lot of
agreed.
websites who have been doing this and still not ranking well because Google is meh right now, they might actually get more traffic from AI overview. So yeah. But that's a really good segue into how to track AI overviews using Search Console. Google does not want to give us that data. I suspect it's because it's worse. Google is saying people love this, la la la, but what they're actually doing is they're hiding the links a little bit. It's harder. The CTRs is going to be lower, and they don't want to show you that. So they're just kind of giving you position one. If you have, let's say, 4 links in AI overviews, those are all position one. We can only see ours, of course, so it looks like we're ranking number 1, but we don't have any context to whether it was AI overviews or a blue link. Maybe that'll change, but for now, Google is black boxing it, which is really annoying. But there's ways you can use external tools like SEMrush, Ahrefs, SEO Monitor. Shout out, they're doing a great job. That you can see your position and link with SEO Monitor. You can extract the HTML of that SERP, so very dope. But figuring out what queries actually trigger it in your country, and then look in Search Console on a query level and start kind of tracking that way, pretty much. But really good guide from Brodie Clark. He's top of the class. Brodie, let's hire this guy. He's great. And this is the even better segue into this little analysis on LinkedIn that somebody shared internally with us here. So somebody was analyzing position 1 with AI overviews has a lower CTR than position 2. Is it true for every single result? No, but there is some case to be made for it here, according to him. So the question I have is, what I will probably be trying to do is, of course, look into queries, try and mix some data and figure out what I can track. And then I will look at, is the CTR worse when I have an AI overview? And should I block? Especially if I'm ranking well underneath anyway. That's the danger here, right? Like if I was ranking highly here, but and in AI overviews, is it better to not be in AI overviews and then will it not just be replaced? Is it good to have both? But what if I'm ranking low page? Like there's all these questions that needs to be asked before, but I think it's worth remembering you can block on a URL basis AI overviews using the NoSnippet tag.
Yeah,
That's the short story. Don't do it without, having thought through what you're doing because you're losing all other snippets too.
I think it's worth keeping in mind as well, because I think this is like an analysis that sees half of the answer kind of and leaves the other half completely unlooked at, which is I think if you're losing, like if you're position 2 and you have lower click-through rate in position 1, maybe it's just because of I'd wonder, like, does the business metrics, do they get affected as well?
Yeah.
Because I think I would be inclined to believe this is mostly to informational queries, and they wouldn't be necessarily tied to business metrics. And here we're just looking at traffic.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's
and
a
I
good
think
theory there somewhere.
it's also worth thinking about, like, in the end, we're in the business of we want the user to get what he wants. And if the user wants answer to a question, and we're one of the sources to the answer to that question in the overview, it might also understand this
Awareness.
like context exactly, and then be more inclined to
Yeah.
click the link in the future.
I think there's definitely like you get your answer, but then you see our name or client's name next to it. That's brand awareness. Brand could go up. It's just hard to track. That's our biggest challenge is the tracking part for us at least. But and also there could be a case for it. People that actually do follow the AI overview link, which is very small little source link, more inclined to actually convert. And then we're still just getting the conversions. We're just dropping off those that just wanted a quick answer anyway and would never convert. Again, looking at business metrics, really good, Linus. That's why we have you on here. I'm ashamed to not put that in the sheet. I brought up the question because what I think he's doing with this post is just kind of criticizing AI overviews. He's saying, look, CTR is worse, so Google, thank you. You know, this is not, you're stealing clicks from us. The user might be satisfied, even though it hallucinates suicide notes sometimes, but yeah, I think it's a fair criticism.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for the AI overviews. Don't panic. We've got it
Or
under
no.
control. Yeah, and
Or
if you're
no.
panicking, reach out to Precis. We'll definitely make you less panicked and even help you track and you know, get into the age of AI. All right, so a little nicer news here. Google local knowledge panels with clickable coupon codes. And I send this stuff directly to you because you're the Merchant Center nerd fanatic. Can I say that? Is that okay? Nerd. I was gonna say nerd. No, but you guys actually brought in Nucleus when we absorbed you. Linus worked for another company that we kind of absorbed and merged with, and you brought in a lot of Merchant Center knowledge that we didn't have. So, any thoughts on this?
I think it just shows that Google is really like doubling down on this and like really going hard for this. And I think this also goes in line with AI overviews in that if it's an AI overview, it's an informational query. If it's not an informational query to buy the thing, then it will be like stuff like this to get more info in Google on how to buy it at the cheapest way in the easiest way possible.
Yeah. So
super interesting.
That's why we do these, is following along on, is there a way to mark up coupon codes and promotions, and if you have them, let's just mark them up, right? We see a lot of websites that just have these things and don't mark them up, and they never get shown. So yeah, just smaller opportunities. We'll keep you posted in these videos, of course. Next up, we've got a free keyword research tool using Wikipedia, and I will show you guys how it looks, and I will let you take the floor because you were excited about this. You said, I quote, it's dope.
Yeah, I think I used a fair few adjectives, adverbs. I don't really know what the right word for it is, but I just think this is super interesting in that everything about Wikipedia is official. So all the info on it, as far as I'm aware, is official. So you could see here what Wikipedia pages perform the best. It's like look at how are they trending, what's the year-on-year change, etc. I just think if you want a quick overview of the search landscape for a client, this is a great way of doing it.
I didn't know the traffic was public. Yeah, I didn't know the traffic was public. Sorry to interrupt you.
Me neither. But
so for people watching this video, I use dog food here, and like just a quick insight here: hypoallergenic dog food plus 42%, a trend moving forward. People are talking about allergenic and it's a new trend. Boom, let's write about that. Like I can see trends and insights really quickly here. Tallow, I don't know what that is though, but you know, I like that there's hot dog in dog food. But yeah, related pages I think is good. You can get a long list here. So yeah, I think it's very good for like trends and insights. You're right. It's dope, or whatever other adjective you used. And it's free. It's free. And again, that was Brodie. He shared this, but on Twitter. But it was actually, I think it's his name. The guy who created this is Viper. Let me just show you. Viper Chill. at least that's his name on. I'm following him on Twitter, Viper Chill. He sometimes comes out with these free tools that are just amazing. So follow this guy on Twitter. Glenn Alsup is his real name. Glenn Alsup, or that's the name he put. Anyway, next up, we have a statement from Google here. It's telling us, don't worry, AI won't replace search. Again, at this point, I don't trust anything Google says. I think they're just calming people. It's pure. They could try to replace search completely and just tell us the opposite. So I have no. It's always interesting to share these because it's saying what we're communicating to our clients and externally is that AI is reshaping search, not replacing it. It's changing. People freaked out when it was the penguin came out and oh my god, we're just changing the way we're interacting. My biggest fear is that Google will just plagiarize very cool content and never get us a click. Like, if you have an AI overview, at least show people who wrote it, maybe summarize it and tell people to visit the page. But if you just take our content, that's stealing. That's stealing. I'm sorry. So that's my biggest fear when it comes to this kind of stuff, and which is why I like to follow exactly the changes in AI overviews, which I will be doing more and more right now. Like what changes with the links, what changes with this and that. Perplexity is coming after shopping and Google's ad revenue. So it's working with a startup called Firmly to make it easier for brands to sell goods directly through Perplexity's shopping result. So again, this should be to some concern for Google. They are already taking some market shares, more than anyone has in the last few years. And Google, has to work on their shopping as much. I don't see why there's this huge focus from Google's side on AI overviews for informational queries. They should purely focus on shopping and then deliver good. Just make sure you deliver good snippets, good results for informational queries. Forget the AI part, because you already have conversational AIs is different. You're not going to get into that space, or you can, but then don't mix it with search.
I think they're doing both, and we'll see like more and more synergies pop open for Google as we go along. At least I hope they do.
Yep.
Who knows at this point?
Yeah. Well, anyway, but yeah, this is cause to concern for Google, and I like that they're on their tippity toes. That's good, because if you're the big bad wolf all the time, you don't have to make search better because everyone's just using it anyway. But now they actually have to think about the quality of what they're coming out with. So another how to measure impact. So AIO is here. It's Elena Solis, of course, top notch as well. Just a really good guide on how to measure the impact of AI overviews, which is it's very different than basically is what I mentioned is, mixing some third-party tool data with Search Console on a query level. And it's basically what she's going through here, but just a nice little video, and she's very good at explaining. So have a look at that as well. Then some interesting people completely obsess over these like Google documentation changes and read into them, and they should, because they are kind of a marketing tool for Google in a sense and communicating how they work. And when they do change a sentence and how they phrase it, that's somebody who thought a lot about that. 10 meetings had to be done at Google before they can change this. So the too long did not read is basically focus shift from content to practices. When they talked about like AI generated content and like large scale content generation, they removed the word content and just meant like it wasn't that it was scaled content, it was that how it was scaled. That was the issue. So the practice of creating content, that was the issue. So I think that's the intent doesn't excuse violations though. So if it's not intentional spam, it still violates guidelines. So intent is secondary. I think that's interesting as well. So it's a subtle word change, but I like to kind of report on these because we have to be at Precis, we have to be 100% white hat on the right side, and we don't want to get clients that are like to get what do you call it, to get any spam trigger. That's really bad on a resume. So really, let's keep it cool here. Some merchant-centered changes. The MC, Google MC, as I call it, will update how it counts clicks, aligning its reporting with Google Ads. You've worked a lot more in this, I think, than me. Anything here that's interesting, worth sharing?
Not necessarily. A lot with Merchant Center. I looked at it in GSC. I'm not really sure how this affects that, or if just within Merchant Center. but I just welcome unified reporting.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So like the short version is you might expect lower clicks because it seems like all user interactions in MC was counted as product clicks, and now it's only the primary ad interaction, so actual click. So we should see a
Yeah.
drop, which again I think it's just I'm going to communicate this to clients who have this, which is none, but let's communicate this because people might freak out. We're losing clicks. They point fingers at us. We go, don't worry, revenue is still the same. So I think it's a good little newsletter email. Oh yeah, there was a March core update, if you remember. And here's some, let's call them like short, like first analysis that came out. It's caused the most volatile search results in over a year. And interestingly, there was some winners like Reddit. They just keep winning at this point, my goodness. But the forum content had a decline though still. So traditional forums lost ground a little bit, but they still boosted Reddit and integrated more visual and widget-based results. I'm again, the fact that they're like dropping forum content but still boosting Reddit after that partnership with data sharing and selling, and it's just a whole. I am so glad they're separating up Google and they have to sell Chrome. That's the first step. Google needs to be broken up. They're way too powerful. Sorry. But yeah, anti-programmatic content push was one of the things here as well that people saw. There's a broader sector impact. So not a niche update. This rollout had like a broad effect. And then there was a big shift in retail SERPs. Uniqlo won, 76% up. Phew. And Zara, minus 24. Amazon lost as well, which I found interesting. That's great. Amazon ranks on so much things that are not relevant. Like, I want a beautiful dress. Amazon doesn't have the beautiful dress for my girlfriend, but a lot of really good shops have it, online shops that specialize in it. Amazon is not a good result for anything. They just ranked with the title, no content. It's terrible. So I'm glad they're losing a little bit. Have you seen anything for your clients for this core update?
Nothing any like that's like super apparent that it was the core update. I've seen some increases, some decreases, but not something that's like, oh, this is the core update. That was like the clear factor.
Okay. I'll say this, my own website has, since the summer update last year, it doubled in traffic. And then it slowly dropped, especially over Christmas. There's a little bit of seasonality, but still some rankings dropped. And now this ranking seems to kind of boost it again. I'm doing informational reviews and guides, so very informational stuff. But I'm in France, so I'll see the AI overviews and see how it's affected my website. It'll be very interesting. But I am doing a lot of structured data and everything too. I'm doing whitehead SEO, so let's see. I'll keep you guys posted here. Let's finish up here with some posting on Instagram as an SEO tactic. Yes, sir. It seems like it's getting picked up in those like content block snippets. Lily Ray has some screenshots, so people are using this as a SEO tactic because you're actually shown in the SERPs on Google. The same goes for YouTube, right? You can be shown on YouTube, but also in the SERP, so it's multi-dimensional or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this one is an interesting one. If you have a client or you have an Instagram already, start thinking about keywords and maybe do some tests. And if you start ranking in those, well, maybe that could be a secondary tactic. And finally, AI translated content as an SEO strategy seems to work for Reddit. Translate your content with AI, maybe without even checking. Honestly, AI is really good at translating to the point where I'm double checking French content for a lot of my colleagues here, and it's good. There's like zero mistakes, almost. It's perfect.
I think like I listed a lot of these translated Reddit links without noticing even that they've been translated.
Yeah.
And I'm super impressed at how well it's been Reddit as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So hats off.
Again, the scaled content part of it is what's danger, but because it's translated, I think Google must be, I can open a new section of my giant website. That's a lot of new URL, but it's not, it's just another version of it. Now, again, talk to an SEO specialist before changing anything at scale on your website anyway at this point. But on my own website, I am doing that for French. So I write in English, then I translate to French. I can, of course, check it myself, and I do. But I'm considering doing it for Spanish and Italian. And what I'm actually doing is translating the WordPress code. I'm feeding it in. It gives me the codes. I don't have to even format or add images. It's all there. I just translate the content and the tags. So it's pretty potent. If you set up a workflow for that, you could just press a button and the next day you've got a Spanish website. So I might be trying to do that. I'll post some results when I get there. But for now, that was the news. Thank you, Linus, for always being here, trustworthy. And I will see all of you next week for the next news. Like, subscribe, and comment if you want. If you want anything, if you're missing anything, just let me know. And otherwise, have a lovely day, and I'll see you on the flip side.
Goodbye.